All right, here we go. So today we're going to be making Dad's chili. So first off, I had started working on this, but you get about 3 tablespoons of butter, melt it. Then we're going to take our onion and dice that up. Now this is the way I dice my onions, so some people probably do it differently. Whatever way you like to dice it, it's fine. It doesn't have to be my way, which is probably not the best way, but it's my way. And you should have a nice sharp knife for this. This is an okay knife. But... oh, there we go. Put that in here.
The bubble. The bubbles in the butter.
My assistant today is Joshua. How you doing, Joshua?
Good.
And then some garlic powder. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon or more of garlic powder, or a teaspoon, depending on your taste. I'll just mix that all up. Now you cook this until the onions begin to caramelize a bit. They're a little transparent. One big piece there.
That means the big pieces.
Oh, that's smelling so good already. Smelling so nice. And I'll just turn that down just a little bit while I prepare this here. We are up in Skagenish, Quebec, getting ready for our daughter's wedding. So it's one piece. Chop that up.
Chop it up into slices.
Yep. So this is on medium-low heat right now. And then once I get all of this in there, I'll turn the heat back up a bit. Just don't want nothing to burn right now. Okay. I'll turn my heat back up to about medium-high. I don't want it too hot. Just hot enough to cook the meat, brown it, get it up to that temperature, that critical temperature of 74 degrees Celsius, I think it is. Yep. I don't know about what that works out to for Fahrenheit. In Canada, we use the metric system. So Josh was getting all the cans prepared there.
And then if your pot is big, 4, and then 3, and then 3 if your pot is small.
Yeah.
Of this. Diced tomatoes.
Usually when I cook this, I try to, you see all this down here? All of this is like, a lot of this is water, and I try to cook it until most of that is gone. Because this was frozen, and some of that is just excess water from the meat that was frozen. So I try to cook it, brown it until most of that is not completely gone, but most of it is gone. because the chili's gonna have enough liquid when I put in the tomatoes and the beans and whatnot. Some people like to drain their kidney beans, but most of the time, 8 times out of 10, I won't drain them, and depending on the amount of liquid that's in there, I put them in or not. Go ahead.
About 3 of this. You can choose how much you want, not too much. There also be too much of this. Beans with tomato sauce, whatever you pick. And some chili powder. And pepper. And salt. Italian seasoning. Some sugar.
Good. So you can see it's still got some liquid in it, quite a bit. Some of that is grease, some of that is water. So we just try to get, and you see a lot of the steam coming up. A lot of that is because there's a lot of water in there still. And so we want that to evaporate as much as possible, get rid of as much of that as we can. So we're browning it. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if that looks like. Okay, so it's not as bad now. Quite a bit. So that is quite a bit of grease in there. I don't think this was lean ground beef, so this might have been medium ground beef.
Yeah, there is a lot. Maybe some of the butter too?
Yep, could be a little bit of the butter as well.
The butter adds some nice flavor.
It does.
That's why
And sometimes I've actually used bacon grease instead of butter, and that's really nice as well too. Oh, you know what we're gonna be missing? A bay leaf. We don't got no bay leaves. That's what I forgot. Well, so we don't got no bay leaves. We're gonna lose that aroma, but at least we'll have the got the bay leaf. It's okay. All right, that looks good. So I'm gonna turn this down for now, and we'll start transferring it into here. And I'm just gonna put all the grease in there as well. I don't mind, like I said. Doesn't bother me. So the only thing I'm missing is a bay leaf. I'm just missing a bay leaf, or 2 or 3. I usually like to put 3 or 4 bay leaves in when I'm making a chili of this size. Alright. Okay, so start opening up these cans of tomatoes, these diced tomatoes. I'm just going to toss them in there. One can. Let's see how that goes. Oh wow. This will be a simpler step. So what I like to do before I actually open these up is I actually give them a good shake. And then open them up. Hi, baby. My gorgeous wife coming into the kitchen to say hi real quick. So, like I said, if you have a electric can opener, this would be better. So that's one can. That's two. There we go. So I drained that last one. So I'm putting 3 cans of that. And then I'm gonna put 2 cans of these Clark beans with tomato sauce. Now I did turn this to minimum, onto simmer, so it'll be okay. Not too worried about the bottom burning. That's quite a bit of liquid in there, you can see. So we're gonna have to simmer this for a few hours at least. Well, at least four hours. 4 hours minimum is what I like to simmer my chili at. 4 hours minimum. And no matter what, that's always my minimum amount of time that I want to simmer any chili. It's always 4 hours. So I think that's it. That we're not gonna put any more cans in here because we got quite a bit in here already. Wooden spoon. Give that a good stir. Mix it all up. Okay, so I like to use by the eye about 4 tablespoons. 2, 3. So 4 tablespoons of chili powder. About a tablespoon of seasoning. 2 sometimes. That's about 2 tablespoons there. That was the Italian seasoning. I like pepper, so I like to use about a tablespoon, teaspoon. It's up to you. That's good. Teaspoon of salt.
Do you have the sugar?
Okay. And then we add 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Sugar?
Yep. And that's it. Now the only other thing I would add in here, and we don't have, unfortunately, is a bay leaf, or 2, or 3, or 4. So that's what I normally like to put in here. Now, I'm gonna bring my heat up to about medium high, because I want it to come to a boil now. So once I start to see that it starts to boil a little bit, now you have to watch it at this point. You really have to careful here, because once it gets to that point where it's the heat gets high, you have to stay with it, because otherwise you'll burn it. Now some people like to add corn in here, like corn niblets. I don't. I just like it with the beans, the meat.
That looks tasty already.
It does, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Some people add mushrooms. Some people add green peppers. But mine is beans and meat, and that's it. And of course, obviously the tomatoes, but what's chili without tomatoes? And you know what? I'm gonna add, because I'm short on, I don't have any ground bay leaves. I'm gonna add a little bit more seasoning in here. Only because we don't have no bay leaves.
It's about a teaspoon, tablespoon more.
That's about a tablespoon more, yeah. So I think we used about 3 tablespoons of seasoning in this, Italian seasoning. But like I said, it's only because I don't have a bay leaf. Otherwise I wouldn't be using as much. I'm just keeping it stirred up. Just want to make sure it's not gonna burn on the bottom. I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna take a look at it, watch the top of it, and when I start to see it bubbling, then I know that it's ready to be. So I'm gonna move this back over there after.
It's right at 12 hours. Small hand is right at the 2.
Okay, so it's 2 p.m. This hasn't started to come to a boil yet, so I have to wait till this comes to a boil. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a bit more, just so I can bring that heat up a little quicker. But that means more vigilance, more being more careful we don't burn it. So we just have to keep giving it a stir every now and then. So you can see it's starting to bubble up a bit, it's starting to boil a bit. So it's only beginning. I'm gonna wait just a few more until I can see, you know, more evidence of it beginning to boil. But I'm gonna give this a quick stir right now. So I can see the contents are beginning, the ingredients, the heavier ingredients are beginning to settle in the bottom. So just give it a bit of a stir and it'll start to boil up again. You'll see, just watch. So you can see it's starting to now. I'm not yet at that point yet where I want to move it over to the simmering pot yet. It is getting nice and hot, but it's not to that point yet where I'm satisfied yet to move it over. But we'll be shortly here. And you can already smell the aromas already beginning to mix in, being released from the steam and heat. Okay, so I'm going to give it one more stir here, and then I'm going to move it over to the simmering as soon as I see how much it bubbles up again. And I can feel it starting to burn a bit on the bottom. Not burn, but just starting to stick to the bottom now a bit. Okay, so it's taking a few seconds, but there it comes. It's starting to come up right away. So once it gets back up to heat again, I'll turn this one off and I'll move it over to the simmering plate. And I'll leave it there for 4 hours. But remember, I'm always constantly, every 5-10 minutes in the beginning, checking it, making sure that it's okay. I don't want it to burn. So that's really good now. It's bubbling enough for me now. And I'll move it over to the simmering plate. This one's off. Give it a stir. It's already settling because now the liquids are starting to boil, so they will move to the surface. So this is why you want to ensure that you're stirring constantly throughout. So now we're just going to let it simmer. It's there, and so that's going to simmer for the next 4 hours, and I will see you back. So you can see we got a good simmer going here now, and I just finished stirring it. So you can tell, I just want to show you where I've set it. So in between 2 and 3, I may move it up a little bit to maybe to 3 a little later, but right now I like where it's at. It's got, you know, some good simmering action taking place now. So yeah, another 3 hours and 45 minutes and it will be absolutely delicious. Okay, so it's been about an hour now that the chili has been simmering. You can see it's simmering nicely. And what happens during this simmering process, it begins to thicken up. The amount of liquid gets reduced, and that's the important part of the simmering, is that you reduce the amount of liquid and it thickens up a bit more, and that's what makes the difference for a good hearty chili. Now I have turned this up to 3 now. It was at about 2.5, so I've turned it up just a bit to 3, just so you can see that. But it is coming along nicely, and I love the fact that this is a nice thick bottomed stock pot. It's not burning. I'm just checking on it every 10 minutes or so, and making sure. You can see how the liquid is coming up to the top like that, and you can see how the contents are beginning, the heavier ingredient contents are dropping down. So this is why you need to make sure that you're stirring it frequently, just to make sure that it does not burn on the bottom. So we'll see how this goes. If I find that the temperature is too high, I'll drop it down to to about 2.5. So you'll see what I mean here. So all that is down to the bottom. So I'm just gonna stir that up a bit. All right, so this is hour 2 now. It's been simmering. You can see that I put that back down to 2 because I found it was too high at 3. Some stoves are different. You see it's been boiling quite a bit. I've been checking it every now and then, but it gets a bit of a, you gotta get in there, give it a good stir. And this is such a good pot at the bottom. The heat distributes nicely. So, really good. It's coming along really well. It's starting to thicken up. And so it's looking really good. Okay, so now this is hour 3. We've been stirring this on and off. It's looking really good. It's starting to thicken up now quite a bit. It's really nicely coming along. I'm going to show you this just in a second here, but I dropped down the simmer heat on this because I found it was a little too much. So you'll see I had it up to 3. Remember, I put it up to 3, dropped it down to 2, and now I put it down about between 2 and 1. And I find that's perfect simmer temperature now for what we're doing here. It's looking good, and it's smelling amazing. Can't wait. Another hour to go, and it'll be 4 hours. All right, so it's about 3.5 hours now. I just stirred this maybe about 2 minutes ago, and it is looking amazing. It's nice and thick, thickening up, and we're doing some frying pan Bannock today. So that's what we're waiting for now. By the time that's finished, this will be ready. Chili and Bannock tonight. Yum. All right, so I just turned this over. I think I might have had it a little too high. It was at about 3.5, so I dropped it down to about 2.5. About 10 minutes on each side. And the chili looks amazing. Oh my gosh. We are gonna have a nice meal tonight. So probably another 5 minutes or so on this, and that'll be done. So our frying pan Bannock is ready. I've turned it off. I'm just gonna flip this onto here real quick. Whoa. Looks good. Oh yeah, looks nice. Chili's good to go. We are ready to have supper. And so the next video will be all of us enjoying the supper. That looks amazing. And so does that. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Here it is. Supper is served. Good night, everybody. God bless you.